Hey everybody, Coach Will here. I hope you're all doing well. So today's workout, we're going to start off with a 15-minute segment, and that's going to be composed of 4 exercises. First exercise in that segment is going to be holding an isometric squat position for 5 seconds. Now that isometric squat position, we're going to want a strap, or you can also use a towel for that. My feet are going to be about shoulder width apart. You can angle toes out in that squat pattern as you want. And I'm actually going to go into a half squat position. So hips are going to be above that parallel position. Knees are going to be a little bit forward. Chest is going to be upright or relatively so. From here, I'm going to take a deep breath in. I'm going to drive the heels into the ground. Imagine that I'm trying to push through the floor, holding that position for 5 seconds. After that, relaxing from the side again. Shoulder width, knees pushed out. Tall chest position, again in that half position. Big squeeze, nice and control, holding for 5 seconds, driving through the floor, trying to overcome that strap, and then relaxing, going on to the second movement. Second movement is going to be a half kneeling to standing position. This is going to be done 5 repetitions each side. You can start down on the ground, hip directly over top of that back knee, front knee slightly ahead of that front heel, big brace in through the hips, big drive through that front leg, and then float back down to start position. Now, if this is too easy, you can either add load, holding in that goblet style, or if you want to go for a challenge, you can actually turn that into a deficit movement by bringing that front foot off the ground. If you want to add in a little bit of extra challenge as well too, you can lift, push, drive, and then drop down. Now making sure that you're trying to avoid pushing off that back leg as much as possible. If you want to regress this a little bit, you can actually bring the knee a little bit higher up from this position, making sure that you minimize that use of that back leg. And again, same thing, push, drive, back down to start position, soft kiss, knee tracking in line with the toe from that front. Same thing, grounded through that front foot, drive through that front leg, knee comes up, drop back down, 5 one side, 5 the other side. Third movement is going to be pulling in a pulling based movement, the tripod row. I'm going to be grabbing my weight. Now again, you can be using bagged groceries or canvas bag or any weight you have access to. I'm going to stabilize through my front hand, almost having that armpit just a little bit behind that wrist. I'm going to be up on the balls of my feet, nice and stable position, grabbing onto that weight, drawing up towards the chest, control back down, repeating like starting a lawnmower, driving that elbow up towards the ceiling, feeling that shoulder blade glide along the rib cage and towards the spine, making sure you're exhaling on the exertion. We're going to do 5 to 8 repetitions each side for that, and move on to the fourth exercise. Fourth exercise is actually just going to be a mobility type movement. I'm going to grab a dowel. Now from this position, I'm going to grab slightly outside of shoulder width, and I'm going to work on my rotation. Now I'm going to take my right arm, push through my left arm, rotate across body, making sure that I'm pivoting on that left foot, control back to start position. Opposite side, pivoting on that right foot, knee tracks in line on that left side, control back in, switch. Now you can turn this into as dynamic or fluid a movement as you want, making sure that as you rotate, you're pivoting up on that off leg, stabilizing on that rotation side leg. Once you've done that, you're going to rest if you need to, and then repeat through that circuit of 4 exercises all over again. Again, iso squat, we got that knee or half kneeling to standing position, the tripod row, and the dowel rotation. The second portion of today's workout is going to be a 20-minute segment. This is going to be, again, 4 exercises done on repeat, very similar to that first 15-minute segment. This one's going to be a little bit longer though. First exercise is going to be done down on the ground. We're going to go into a bear hold and lift. So if you have wrist-based issues, you can go from the elbows That being said, I'm going to start armpits over the wrists, hips directly over top of the knees. From this position, driving through the floor, lifting the knees slightly off the ground, pushing the chest away from the ground, hold for 2 seconds, and then replace. Repeat and replace. Repeat and replace until you've done 5 repetitions. After that, we're going to go into a plank position. We're going to go into the plank seesaw. So plank seesaw, either from that low plank position from the elbows, high plank position from the hands. From here, I'm going to push the hips back towards the wall, feeling that stretch in through the calves, and then push forward through the ground, having the elbows move closer towards the hips while the hips stay low the entire time. Back and forth with those slight pulsing movements. Again, 5 each way, and then you're going to be moving on to the third exercise. Third exercise is going to be a dumbbell press. Now, if you don't have access to a dumbbell, if you have a kettlebell, that's completely fine. And I will also show you a way of doing this body weight as well for a little bit of a challenge. We're going to go into 5 each side of a controlled single arm press. So nice and stable. If you use a kettlebell, I recommend getting hand first, using both arms to get into position, ground through the feet. From here, I'm going to bring the elbow down to touch down on the ground, control press up. You're going to see that my elbow is about 60 degrees or so away from my rib cage. I don't want it in that T position or arm at 90 degrees. Keep it a little bit closer to the side. Control press up, making sure that I'm actively pushing my outside hip into the ground so I don't rotate towards the weight. 5 repetitions one side, followed by 5 repetitions on the other side. Now, if you don't have access to a heavy weight, what you can also do is turn this into a rotational movement. So from here, I'm going to think about bringing one arm down. If I've got my right arm down, I'm going to actually spread my left leg out. And from here, I'm actually going to be reaching up. So as I press my arm up towards the ceiling, I'm going to be pushing through my right leg and rolling the hip to the left-hand side. So my right hip comes off the ground, I roll to my left-hand side, and then repeat back down to start position. Repeat 5 one side, and then 5 opposite side. Again, rolling through the hips, and then control. Final one, we're going to go into a single leg glute bridge. This can be done from the ground. If you want to make it harder, you can go to an elevated position. That being said, nice and stable. We're going to drive up through the hips, big squeeze in through a bum on the right hand side. Opposite side is going to be pulled up towards the chest, hips lower down, and then repeat. 5 one side, switch, tuck, and then drive up. 5 the other side. Again, 20 minutes going through those 4 exercises. Once you've done that, we're going to go on to the conditioning portion that's going to be listed in the description. Otherwise, have a great workout. Stay safe. We're all in this together. Thank you.